Hello, and welcome to the 2022 Tee Up for Teaching seminar. This is our second session on misconceptions of the Americans with Disabilities Act regarding golf. My name is Dana Dempsey, and I'm the Director of Therapeutic Recreation here at Scottish Rite. Thank you for joining us. Let me go ahead and do a full screen, and then we can go ahead and get started. In 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law. It is a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination against individuals who have a disability in a number of areas, such as employment, transportation, public accommodations, communications, and access to state and local government services and programs. Later, in 2010, the U.S. Department of Justice finalized what they call the 2010 ADA Standards for Accessible Design. That includes buildings of all kinds, and it also includes recreation facilities. Golf courses fall under the section of recreation facilities. This civil rights law also prohibits discrimination at these facilities, and some of the areas that are addressed are things like accessible routes, teeing areas, the putting green, weather shelter, golf cart passages on the course, practice facilities, temporary facilities, and if you're at a club that has other recreation amenities such as a swimming pool, gymnasium, things like that, it covers those other recreation amenities. I want to share with you this slide because much of the information that I'll be sharing with you comes from misconceptions that have been actually pretty still prevalent even after all these years in the golf industry. In January of 2020, I had the opportunity to co-present with a friend and colleague, Jan Beljan, who is an outstanding female golf course architect. During that session, Jan really handled the portion about the misconceptions, and based on her education and experience of helping golf courses be built from the ground up, but also get updated and redesigned when they do any kind of major improvements, she has a world of experience and expertise in being able to explain very clearly why these misconceptions or myths are in fact myths and they are not a part of the law. Now, I'll use the same caveat that Jan did, and that is neither one of us, Jan nor I, are attorneys. So if you have specific concerns or a specific issue happening at your facility, please be sure to consult with an attorney that specializes in the Americans with Disabilities Act. So we will go ahead and move forward about the various misconceptions. There are things that are out there, such as private golf courses are not covered under the ADA. Well, is that really private? Is that true that the course or club is really private? So I would ask, does this course, does this facility offer member guest events so that people from the outside that aren't members of that course, of that club, actually come and participate? Do they offer golf events that are open to the public, maybe tournaments? Are there other events held at this golf club or golf course? Maybe there are other public events at this club, such as weddings, where the general public is invited to come and participate. If it's not truly private, meaning that you have members of the public coming to this facility, then no, they must comply with the ADA. What about the one that asks, I must grant or must I grant every request for an ADA accommodation at my golf facility? The ADA is about making reasonable accommodations. So you have to think back about the intent of the law. And the intent of the law is that to avoid discrimination, to provide for inclusion. And again, I think if we hearken back to what Dr. Clue said about inclusion, about everyone can participate, everyone can connect, and everyone can succeed. Also, to think about how inclusive golf is about everyone being able to play the same course, meaning that those who are able bodied, you don't have just a course for able bodied people, and then you have the disabled course for those who have a disability. No, you play the same course, and everyone can play at any time. Sorry, from 10 to 5 are only for those who have a disability. No, maybe that's not convenient for them. So they want to be able to play at any time that anyone else would be able to play. Same thing with that they can play every hole. Same as play by the rules. So inclusion golf wants everybody to be able to play by the rules, play by um, the at any time, and be able to play every hole or as many holes as what their ability allows. So if it's not a reasonable accommodation, then that is not the intent of the law. Another misconception is I don't have to change my existing golf course to comply with the 2010 accessibility standards because the course is grandfathered in. Now, many golf courses across the United States were in fact built long before 1990 and the ADA came around. As a result, those courses were in fact built to meet codes of that time. Those were current codes. But now in 2022, or even back in 2010, 1990, the codes changed. They were different. So if you are making changes to your golf course, to your facility, then you must comply with the current codes. That would really be no different than complying with current fire codes. Gee, our hospital was built back in the 70s, but now we have to comply with 2022 fire codes. So if your golf course, if your facility is moving dirt, as Jan would say, then yes, you need to comply with the newer 2010 accessibility standards. On the left of this screen, you'll see that there is a wonderful resource. It's a checklist regarding the ADA and existing facilities. You can find that in the adachecklist.org and download it. You can go through there and check and see with your facility, how does it fare? How does it hold up? Where are areas that we do a good job about accessibility and where are some areas that need improvement? Remember, the ADA is about equal access. So it has been proven through court cases that the law is very specific in identifying in what it qualifies as a private club. And according to the National Alliance for Accessible Golf, they have stated, and it is true, that the Department of Justice takes a very narrow view about what the definition of private is, as I shared some examples from the previous slide. Some other misconceptions. I must put a paved path on the golf course. Well, most courses don't have paved paths throughout their course. The law is that those with a mobility impairment should be able to access areas of a golf course. just like those who don't have a mobility impairment. So, really, if a mower can get to an area at your golf facility, then a single rider golf cart should be able to get to the same area. But many times paths along golf courses aren't paved. They may be just grass, they may be gravel, they may be pea gravel, it may be bark mulch. You know, paths have been created in golf courses for years, not using paved courses. Again, the importance is access. What about the ADA requires significant resources be spent to accommodate a golfer with a disability? Well, it harkens back to some of that reasonable accommodations. And there are some very inexpensive accommodations that can be found. For example, what about having some wider space between the aisles at your golf pro shop? That way, those who have a mobility impairment, use a wheelchair or maybe a walker or cane, they can easily get to items that they're going to look at to potentially buy. Another easy, inexpensive accommodation, if you have a golfer or a customer that has a disability, maybe they come up in a wheelchair, and if you have a high countertop, what if your staff walked around that countertop to be able to speak to the customer or maybe take the money that they're wanting to pay or get a signature? So that would be another example of an easy accommodation. So, no, significant resources do not have to be spent when it comes to making accommodations. Take a look around your course and see where easy accommodations could be made. Another question comes up, am I required to have two or more single rider golf cars at my facility? You know, many facilities nowadays are owned by larger corporations or managed by larger corporations that have more resources available than just the facility itself. So facilities can work together to provide a single rider golf car. If there's not one at every facility, okay, check to see if some of the surrounding courses have a single rider car. Because I will guarantee you, golfers who have a mobility impairment and need a single rider cart, they're going to call ahead to the facility and inquire whether or not one is available. Hi, I want to make a tee time and I'm going to need a single rider car. Do you have one? Well, if you don't have one, you know they're coming. Why not be able to still make a tee time, and then get a cart at your facility in time for when they are there to play? So I think it's important to think outside the box sometimes about ways to make accommodations. Facilities can, in fact, work together and be able to pool resources. The other thing, um, one of the statements is I must allow a single rider golf car on or anywhere on the golf course at any time. Well, there are things to consider. For example, weather. Have you had a lot of rain and therefore none of the carts are going out? Well, if that's the case, then no, single rider golf cars don't go out on the course. They have to stay on the cart paths just like everyone else. Or you just don't allow any carts out, so maybe that day wouldn't be a good day for that single rider car to come. What about safety? There are some courses where it is simply not safe for a cart to go. The point being, if you allow a regular two-person cart to go to an area on the golf course, why would you not allow a single rider golf course cart to go in that area of the course as well? So again, it comes back to having the opportunity and being consistent and allowing for accommodations because we want to have inclusion. Same playing the same course, playing the same times, playing by the rules. The photo on the left comes from that ADA checklist, again, showing areas where you can go and take a look at the different areas and this particular one asks about an accessible route for a golf car passage to connect. A few other misconceptions about the Americans with Disabilities Act. And actually, this is more misconceptions about individuals who have a disability as a whole. One of it is that individuals with disabilities on my golf course will slow down pace of play. And that just has not borne out to be the case. Like many individuals that play the course, you know, people get concerned about pace of play. I know as a woman, oftentimes I've been very aware of not wanting to hold up pace of play just because I don't want others on the course thinking, yeah, there's that lady on the course and she can't play and she's holding us up. Individuals who have a disability or individuals who are new to the game of golf, they too worry about slowing things down, and so they are keeping up with the pace of play. So the fact that an individual has a disability and plays golf, that should not be a concern that they are going to make pace of play be any slower than anyone else that plays the course. And may I say, I have known many able-bodied golfers out there who really have slowed up pace of play. It is about knowing the rules, understanding etiquette, and allowing individuals to play at the appropriate pace of play. Another misconception is there's little financial benefit, and that is just not the case. According to the US Department of Labor, individuals who have a disability, it's a growing market, and they have over $175 billion in discretionary funds to be able to spend. That means that they can choose to come to your course and pay your fees, pay your instructors for lessons, pay to be a part of your program or membership into your club. They have that choice. They can spend their money with you, or they can go somewhere else where they're more welcomed. Why not have it be at your facility? Another misconception is individuals with disabilities are not interested in playing golf, and that too is not true. Granted, while it is an older statistic, it is still true that there are over 8 million people with disabilities who would consider playing golf or returning to golf if they were given the opportunity. So there are a number of people out there who want to be able to play golf. Many of them have a disability, but they have not been given the opportunity to play. Give them the opportunity. Let them know they are welcome. Make your facility accessible and welcoming, and they too will come and play. Again, the ADA is about equal access. And really, businesses of all size should work to educate their staff about ADA requirements. Your facility may have excellent policies in place, guidelines that people should follow, but if your staff don't know about them, or if they don't know how to implement the policies, then you're going to have a problem. Customers are going to go away dissatisfied, and word will get around. And you won't want that. You want them to come to your facility. So the bottom line is that every facility should be looking to continually improve. I love the way they say it with this, the Americans with Disabilities Act guidelines officially adopted for golf courses. It says every facility should be continually trying to comply and make their golf courses more accessible by identifying and removing barriers. Equal access for all is important. Equal access to come play golf is very important. Thank you for your time. Now, there's a quiz to see if hopefully this has been something that you can take and embrace and remember. So scan the QR code, click the link, and complete the quiz for this session. Remember, in order to receive continuing education credit, you must complete the quiz. If you are interested in learning more about our Learn to Golf program here at Scottish Rite or how to get involved, please send us an email at learntogolf@tsrh.org. If you have questions regarding the content of this session, please don't hesitate to send me your question at dana.dempsey@tsrh.org. I'll be happy to answer your email. Maybe we could schedule a phone call or even set up a virtual meeting. Thank you very much for your time and attention.